Oh, this looks cool. A little bit different than what I'm used to. Ooh, a space station could be cool, but we're gonna land on the moon. And we're falling? Oh, okay. That was a bit worrisome. Oh, look, there's our home. This is beautiful looking. Touching down. Slow. Oh, man, that was a very hard landing. Well, here we are on the surface of the moon. Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Monifactory. I appreciate you guys for being patient for this one to come out. But let's just go ahead and get in some progress while we're here. We don't have a whole lot of time to be out here. I made some more O2 tanks, but I think either way, it's going to be quick trip anyway. Let's go ahead and check this out. I don't think we really have much here that we need to get. I think the moon dust itself could be useful. I think we can get deuterium from that. We can say hello to the locals. What's going on, dude? What do you got? Ice shards? I don't know what those are for. I always loved exploring these bases. Not that they really have anything that's super useful for us at this point, but gotta at least loot one chest, right? Shaders are making this look absolutely stunning as well. And another pair of pants. Like I said, I don't think this is gonna be super useful for us, but it's always a good time. Hello, everybody. And some cheese! Let's go. Not FDA approved. Yeah, I wouldn't imagine so. All right, well, I guess we break out of here if we can. Okay, let's check the... do I have my scanner on me? It's got to be somewhere in here, right? I really hope I didn't put it away. Terminal. Oh, there it is. Prospector. So let's see what's here on the planets. A northite? Aluminum, ilmenite, hematite, olivine, chromite, grossular, spessartine, pyrolusite, diamond. Okay, nothing super crazy. I gotta believe that there's stuff here that's gonna be more useful to us, but in the moment, this was kind of just a quick unlock to get the new dimension. But it was just good to be here. It's just good to be here. We got ourselves some cheese, so I'd say the rocket program was a success. I guess it's time to go home, because I don't really know what we need yet, and I'm already halfway through my oxygen, so let's go ahead and head back. Okay, the suit has been depressurized. Go ahead and take that off and put on our trusty armor set. I don't even know why I have this on in the first place, but I've had it on the entire series. Moon dust. What's useful here? Now, I think you can grind it up to get the actual dust. Ah, the quantum flux. Yes. And you can centrifuge it for glass, quicklime, ilmenite, extraterrestrial metal mixture, magnesia, and northite. Okay, that's just calcium, aluminum, silicon, and oxygen. And some deuterium, which will be useful. I don't know. I know fusion. It's important for fusion, but I don't think this is going to be a really good source of it unless we start doing moon dust centrifuge like now. Let's go ahead and check the quest book and see where we're at. I know there's a couple things that I want to do. I want to set up some machines in our clean room. And I would probably like to start working towards primal mana so we can get signalum and lumium. We could do a little bit of power work. Make some gasoline. And then we also could do petrochem. I think for now let's do this first. I know that I need to make a better tiered advanced circuit assembler. Just because the one we're currently using is MV, and it's not terrible, but it's not that quick either. So we're going to replace the one we have in our clean room with this new upgraded one, now that we have EV circuits and vibrant alloy bolts. That, I'll be honest, was not expecting that to be vibrant alloy bolts. Do we have any way of making these? I think I have a bolt extruder. Ah. Hopefully, MV is enough. Let's give this a try. And send it off. And now we just hope. And we see all these machines whir up. In the last episode, we made this setup, which I am such a huge fan of. I haven't really had to do anything crazy crafting-wise where it's like they're all spinning up. But it's already saved me a lot of time. That is for sure. Ow. Oh, man, just watching this thing tick down. An energy drink would go so hard right now. I need one. How close are we to making cheaper EV circuits? Yeah, I think we're going to need epoxy for that, which means petrochem. Might need to make some fluid rigs. That's another thing we could do. Dang, it's taking a while for these EV circuits. Hopefully I didn't disconnect something already. That's why it's not working. I also want to make electric versions of these tools, as I've just been remaking the aluminum ones because they're basically free and they do last a long time, but it'd be cool to make that. All right, advanced circuit assembler is done. Head over to the clean room. That's not the clean room. This is the clean room. Okay, so we can replace this and we can just leave this pattern provider here. And please don't explode for some reason. I don't know why I got so scared there. And then we can also get rid of this converter. And we can place this advanced circuit assembler in. We're also going to need to power this. Ooh, do I want to move this? I might want to move this laser node to here. Yeah, let's do that. So we're going to move this laser node. Laser node up top. Down face, energy insert. Then we're going to need our laser wrench, which who knows where that went now. I think it's in my backpack. Yep. There we go. Now it's connected. Okay. And we need 8x cable, which I know we have a good amount of. Not a crazy big amount of, but we've got a lot. Okay. Then we're going to want to move this around the back here. I know this is all going to be full of machines, so I'm not too worried about quote-unquote wasting any. All right, and this thing is ready for some machines. Okay, so I already made some advanced laser engravers. We're going to need a lot of these. We already have that one. We may want to move this one too. I don't really... I guess it doesn't matter. But we'll put these here. Different laser engravers. They are connected. Good. Ooh, only one pattern provider. Well, they're easy enough to make now. That's going to take a while. But you can see how fast the plates are going. I think it's about time we figure something out about this raw rubber pulp recipe too, because it takes a long time. This is like the bottleneck of most of these recipes. Or maybe at one point I just need to make a metric ton of liquid rubber so I don't have to worry about it for at least a while. Kicking the can down the road. It is the White Eagle way. Okay. Pattern providers, done. Energy drink, collected. Oh yeah. Now we're ready to rock. Yep, that'll do. That will play. All right, let's get these pattern providers set up in here. I'm going to need more of these laser engravers. I just like having them all set up just because a lot of times the recipes take forever. It's good to just have one of each tier. HV laser, I think this one was emerald. We'll just say green. HV laser diamond. HV laser blue. Bang. Okay, cool. So we got those ones done. I know we need one for Ruby for sure. And to be honest, it's been a while since I played, so I don't even know why I made these. I don't know, but I know it'll be useful. I know it will be useful. Now what? Let's see what we got to do. So we got the HV circuit assembler. That's good. So we can make our IV tier circuit, which would be nice. What does it take to make that? Oh my gosh, this is weird. Oh, I forget the mainframes are the absolute worst. Okay. Liquid soldering alloy. Can we even make this? I would like to make this circuit. Let's just see. We don't have soldering alloy. We don't have annealed. Everything else that we have. I cannot wait till we don't have to make the expensive versions. We're getting closer in a lot of them. Use case for these IV circuits. Unsure right now. Other than just making it to get the EV circuit assembler, which we will need to make the third and final tier of the HV circuit. The IV stuff is good, so we need to start getting tungsten because we're going to need tungsten steel because if we're going to start distilling liquid ender air, I believe we need an IV export hatch. I think. I'm not sure. I remember there being some weird thing that was gated behind IV. Something to do with distilling. Okay. Let's see here. Well, I guess we could just try making this IV circuit. I don't know. We could try it. And we can watch this go. Well, thanks to the rod array we have, it's actually not too bad to make these aluminum frames. I don't know if we have the assembler array set up for those ones specifically. Now I think we're just gated by capacitors and stuff. We need to get the SMD versions of all these because they're getting expensive, which if I remember correctly, I think they take PVC, which we should be able to make now. Inductor. Yeah, we have okay, so it's making these ones for some reason, even though we had these. That might require further investigation. But for now, I'm not even going to think about it. Okay. And the microprocessor mainframes are completed. We were able to make 2 of them. Not too bad. There we go. IV circuit quest. Complete. Nice. We can go ahead and check the progression tab and kind of see where we land here. We can see that we won't really get the cheaper HV or EV circuits until we get into the EV circuit assembler. And in theory, we could use these IV circuits to make that, but I don't think we're quite there yet because we haven't even made any EV machines yet. So we kind of have to get caught up in a few different ways. Got to work on getting some epoxy and getting some more EV machines to just speed up everything else. But we're going to take a pause on that for right now, as I think that's getting a little bit too far ahead of ourselves here. Now, one thing that I haven't touched yet that I would really like to is be getting into this microverse now that we've gotten to the moon. Because to do that, we're going to need some deuterium, and then we're going to need to make some quantum fluxes, and then projecting our first microverses, and then making the actual microverse microminer itself, which I think will be mostly steel materials for this first one. But let's go ahead and check this out. So for deuterium, what are we going to need? It looks like moon turf. Let's see. Efficient means of obtaining deuterium. It will be useful for producing microversium, tritium, plasmas from fusion, and crystallizing dilithium. The moon also contains fluid deposits of deuterium and helium-3, which you can harvest with the fluid rig. However, you will want to use a second fluid rig tier to extract it, as the amount of deuterium and helium-3 is too low for anything appreciable from the first tier fluid rig. Okay, well, seeing as we haven't made the first fluid rig, that might be important. But let's see how much we can extract from this. So if we check moon, we do that, and we want to macerate that into the dust. We can make that directly into quantum flux, or like I said before, we can centrifuge it into getting our deuterium. So it might be a good idea for us to go back to the moon and do a little bit of mining, not too much, just to get a good base level of this moon sand, and then we can set up the processing of that over there in our ore processing. So let's go ahead and go back to the moon. I know we just came back, but looks like we did need some moon sand. Okay, here we are back on the moon, and I think we're just going to pick a random ore vein here to mine, and this chromite seems like it'll work. Let's go ahead and set our drill to max power, and then start collecting. Looks like I need to make sure my magnet's charged as well, but for now, this will be okay. Now, the moon stone, I don't actually know if that will be something we can use either. Let's check out the moon's cobblestone. What can we do with this? Macerate it. Oh, that also goes into moon dust. Well, that's nice. We got to find this chromite, though. Could always use more chrome. Stainless steel is going to be very important for us. How deep are we going to have to go? The gravity is so strange. Okay. What is this? Olivine? Hematite? And some chromite? It's going to get dark here for a second. Well, let me go ahead and mine this up a little bit, and I'll get back to our base and start processing it. Okay, we are back at the base, and we've put in a lot of the materials, being the sand. We'll probably put in the ores that we mined as well, and we can start to see this going through and getting us some deuterium. So this will be very useful. I don't remember exactly what it says we're going to need it for, but we can go ahead and check that, as we do have it in the system now. And the quantum flux. Okay, so we can make it with a diamond. Mars dust. Okay, so there's a bunch of different ways that we can make this to get more of that quantum flux. So we'll want to explore that as we go. Wow. Okay, so this is definitely going to be the best bet, the diamond and moon dust part. And let's just see what else. Okay, so for the basic microverse projector, which is the multi-block to send these machines into the microverse, we're going to need microverse casing, which is going to need microversium plates, ingots, and those are made in the blast furnace with helium. We can speed it up with helium. I think we actually are getting some. How do we make this? Okay, this is where we need this. The microversium dust requires steel, glowstone, redstone, and 1 bucket of deuterium. Okay, so it actually takes a good amount of deuterium to make. We actually have a decent amount of helium as well, so we can start to use that to make that a little bit faster. I remember some of the later blast furnace recipes do require the helium boosting rather than the nitrogen boosting, so that will be important that we have access to a good amount of helium as well. I don't really remember where we were getting this from. Centrifuging something, maybe? Ah, yes, the endstone dust. And we're also getting some tungstate out of that. Do we have any of that? Oh, yeah. Okay, cool. So we actually are ready to make tungsten when we get ready to do that as well. But for now, we're going to kind of let this thing build up a little bit of deuterium. I know we need to change the filters a little bit to deal with the moon cobblestone as well, because it doesn't really do anything with them yet. So I'll have to figure that out with the tags. But that's pretty cool. And while that's collecting us some deuterium, I figure we may as well try something a little bit easier. Or at least I hope so. So we're going to try to make all of these different dust: pyrotheum, petrotheum, aerotheum, and cryotheum. Now, I think all of these come from hostile neural networks with the thermal elemental data module. So I already went ahead and made 2 of them and have this set up, and let's see. I can just throw this in, then it will throw in that. I made 2 of them because I don't know how quickly those will go. And I also set up another loot fabricator to hopefully process those out. I need one to go in there first so I can see, but I think I'm going to have to kind of switch it out kind of every so often. I don't know how much of this we're actually going to need, but once we get our first one in here, okay, so we can get, let's see, we can get saltpeter, obsidian, snowball, blitzmote, basalt shard, and blizz cubes. Oh, okay, so what, I guess the other part of that would be pyrotheum, which is just blaze powder. Yeah, okay, that's not too bad. So this is just a crafting recipe. I would imagine we could make a good amount of this, especially if we just convert one of our blaze modules to be making blaze rods, or make another one. But for now, we're going to need all of these cubes. So I'm going to start with one of them, let that craft. And I'm going to do another one. And then I'll do the last blitz mode. Okay. So it's going to go ahead and make more. And let's see. We can take all of these out. And I actually already made some pyrotheum dust because I needed it. It was the easiest one to make to get the actual data modules. So then we can put these over here in their own spots. And that should be good. Now, how many does it take? It'll take 1K. That's fine. So I think once it hits its maximum, we can just switch it. Because I mean, it made it pretty quick, and you get a lot per each operation. So at this point, we're just kind of waiting for this to go through and build up a little bit of a backlog, and then we can macerate all of these down to get the different dusts. So we can take those out, and I think we can just use our steam macerator for now. Let's find out. Yep, we can. Cool. So that'll make us the elemental dusts. So there actually is another route to make these different powders and dusts by using this elemental reduction fluid. And I think it doesn't even take anything super difficult to make. So it's just coal and this elemental reduction fluid to get ourselves the basalt powder. How hard is this to make? Ooh, it's hydrofluoric? Ooh, okay. Well, that might be better end game to do than just using our hostile neural networks. Especially since we don't need a good amount of it right now, we can just let the dust build up. So we don't actually need to do this part. But it might be something we want to dip into later on. Okay, and the powders are done. We actually get a good amount of them for what we're doing. And we actually need to get blaze powder to complete this quest too. I really hope I have some blaze rods. Blaze. Oh no. Okay, so we don't have any more. Can I craft them? I think for now I'll craft a few. I need to just get a loot fabricator to start making the blaze powders. But anyway, that's a couple more quests completed. And let's see what it takes to make the next ones. Okay. Petrotheum dust is obsidian and redstone in the mixer. Should be fine. Actually, is it even worth doing in the mixer? It's only 2 seconds. Yeah, we'll do the mixer. It won't be that bad. And then the blitz powder, saltpeter, and redstone. And then the blizz is snowballs. Ooh, okay. Well, that's interesting. We may as well make recipes for these. There's going to be some dust that we don't have access to. Or snowballs, for that matter. I think the main issue is going to be this obsidian dust. We might want to bookmark that. And saltpeter, I don't know if we actually have any. We don't. Okay, so we may have to mine for some of that. That's okay. Where do you get this from? Is there saltpeter ore? There is. Okay, so we could just go mine a saltpeter vein and have plenty. Well, I guess we can start by trying to craft some of these dust to complete the quest. Looks like we have everything we need. We can start that. And then we need the AE. Rothium dust. Hopefully we can make 16 of each. Oh yes, the saltpeter. I'm going to need to take care of that. Maybe I have some in here. Wow, I actually haven't mined any. Interesting. So we look in here, it actually makes the saltpeter and the obsidian dust and the snowballs as well. So it might actually be useful to make more than just one of these loot fabricators. But I don't imagine, like I said earlier, I don't think we're going to need that many of them. So for now, I think just manually switching it is an option. Okay, now that we had that make some saltpeter, we should be able to make this. And then we also made the snowballs, so we can make the cryothium. There we go. Okay, they're all done crafting. Let's go ahead and take these out and get this another quest completed. And the last part of this is this primal mana dust. Mana dust is an important material. It is needed for a variety of materials related to thermal expansion. Okay, diamond dust, and just, can it be done in the mixer? It can. Do you get any bonus? You don't really. Interesting. Okay, and now we're going to try to make 32 of the primal mana and send that off. I really like the icons for these. They're super cool. All right, just a short time later, the primal mana dust is completed. That's another quest. However, we're not quite ready to use that yet, as if you look in the quest book, this is going to be useful in making aluminum and signalum, but we need some IV blast furnaces with some RTM alloy coils, which we aren't quite ready for just yet. Now, I want to get back to doing the microminer missions, as that is what I'm interested in. So, I made 256 of the microversium dust, and I realized I don't really have a good place to smelt them, and they need helium to be made at the fastest speed. So I went ahead and made 4 different batches of EBFs here. So we're going to try to make our quad EBF finally. So I think we're going to try to put that over here. I might need to take a second to figure out exactly how I want to lay this thing out, as I don't think it'll be as nice as I have these ones. I'm going to make a quad EBF. It's going to kind of be our on-demand EBF, and then I'm going to convert these two into various different things. And based on how long this took to make the 64 nichrome coils, I think we're going to use those to make that. Because it takes forever to make. Man, that took forever. But give me a second to get this quad EBF in, and we'll configure this thing up to start smelting the microversium. And here we are. This big dog is ready to work. I went through and sent some more nichrome into it. I didn't set the right bus, so it's doing the slower recipe right now, but it will eventually, after this one is done, switch to the faster recipe that is nitrogen boosted. So actually what I had to do is, because I want this to be more of an all-purpose thing, I ended up making a quad input hatch and put helium, nitrogen, and oxygen here, because I think a lot of the different ingots take those kinds of gases as well. So I am really pleased with how this looks and how it works, and I just think this won't be the last of them. I think we may end up making 4 in this space, 4 quads, just because I love having EBFs. But this will put a tax on our power system that we will have to solve in the very, very near future. And I've got some plans for that that will require a bit of a base expansion. But for right now, I'm pretty happy with this. So once this is done, we can go ahead and send through the microversium, I believe. Let's double check and make sure that we have the recipe for that. So let's check this out. Microversium. So to smelt this in the EBF, it can use the helium, which we already have it set up, and it'll take 20 seconds. Oh, okay, so it's actually faster than the nichrome. We've got the coiled here. They're running at EV, I believe, with HV hatches. And yeah, this should go fairly quickly. I don't know if we'll have enough helium for this, but we should be able to try to run it. Yep, this thing is awesome. I think each recipe takes about 3 seconds to run through with this specific ingot. So it will rip through this 256 or 260 ingots very quickly. I'm really, really pleased with how quickly this thing goes. All right. It was like I blinked and it was done. I'm not going to complain. All right. On to the next thing. I also went ahead and made some quantum flux, as that is going to be important. To the quantity, I have no idea how much I will need, but we made almost a stack of it using some moon dust that we had. Next, we checked the quest book. There are a couple more things. We need to get the projecting microverses here, the universe creation data, which is actually going to need a new machine called a scanner. We're also going to need a data stick. I don't think the scanner's that bad. In fact, I think I may have already made it. Yep, I did. But the real part of this is going to be this data stick. It's going to take a little bit. So I already went ahead and made another laser engraver to make these NAND memory chips, which need a gray lens. So I had to make a chemical bath recipe. It was this whole thing. But anyway, we have it ready, and we can go ahead and send the data stick off and create that. I don't know how long this is going to take. Anything with the laser engraver and the cutter tends to take a little bit. So this might take just a quick second. But while we're doing that, we can go ahead and set up the scanner up here on this HV line. It's getting pretty compact here, so we may want to start reconfiguring and moving some things. But for right now, we can just go ahead and place this right on there. And for the pattern provider, I guess we could put a pattern provider. I don't know exactly how useful it's going to be, but we're going to do it anyway, just in case. Set this into the up. Allow. So it's going to need some fluids and the data sticks as well. I think it was hydrogen in that recipe. It was. Okay. And I actually don't know if we have any hydrogen. I can't even believe I'm saying that. Okay, we do. So I was worried for nothing. Okay, so now we're waiting for this NAND memory chips to cut down, and then we should get the data stick. But while we're doing that, let's make the universe creation data, make this pattern. Yep, we're going to need the hydrogen. We can encode that pattern. We go scanner and send in the universe creation data. I think at some point we'll probably just fully passive this stuff. I don't know if it needs a new data stick for each one of those or if it'll just sit in there. I think it's non-consumed. Ooh, I don't actually know. Let's see. Is there any other recipes for that? I don't know. Anyway, we can copy the data stick. Yeah, I really hope we don't have to remake one of those every time. Not that it's like crazy expensive, but it's not that cheap either. Okay, the data stick is done. And then we can take the universe creation data, and it looks like we just need one. So let's just try that. I don't know. Let's find out. Send that off. Let's make sure this is working. And it's doing something, all right. And it's done already. Quick 5-second recipe. I don't know why I thought that would take a long time. And the universe creation data completed. There we go. And it looks like we're not going to get that quest complete until we complete all the different parts of this microverse projector, which is going to be even more pattern encoding to nobody's surprise. Let's get this microverse casing. That is circuit 6 assembler. Okay, put that recipe in there. What else are we going to need? That's done. We're going to need the basic microverse projector. And send that off, which is going to need MV field generators, which is going to need magnesium diboride. Okay, so this is going to be a bit of a process. So I'm going to have to get this going. I did not realize it was going to be these weird MV field generators. Anyway, I'm going to have to go down a bit of a rabbit hole and get that exotic metal just so we can make this thing. This is really my first time seeing myself in the full spacesuit, but that was quite the rabbit hole we had to go down. I had to actually go mine some lepidolite because that was the only way that I saw that I could get boron at this point. So I actually, it's funny, you can see it through my AE2 system, but I had to mine some lepidolite and get that processed so we can get some boron. I also created a processing pattern for the microverse projector, and here's to hoping that I can go ahead and make this thing. Let's say one of them, and no red. No red. Okay, so we will send that off and let it go. I always love the big processing patterns like this. It is so satisfying watching all of this go. But this magnesium diboride is actually not too bad once I get the boron. Had to make multiple recipes for them and get it in the blast furnace as well. But I think that's everything. So we just got to let this thing finish up crafting, and we can place our first microverse projector down. What I'm going to do with it once I get there, not sure. Quantum flux, universe creation, and our basic microverse projector. But we're not done yet because we still need to make the actual microminer and figure out what mission we are going to run. So we're going to head back over here, and I think what I'm planning, based on the missions that I've looked at for this tier, HV, we're good. We're actually running it at EV because we have 2 HV energy hatches on our microverse projector. And if you go through these missions, none of it's super useful, I'll be honest. But I do think the one that's most useful for us right now is mission number 3, which would be molybdenite, moon sand, dilithium, and fluorite. Why? Well, I kind of just chose it at a whim, to be honest, because it's the most useful one that I can see for the tier 1 microminer. So I need to actually make the microminer itself. Microminer. Actually, one more thing we actually are also going to need, and I made patterns for these, the basic drilling kit, steel drill head, power thruster, and the rocket fuel, which we actually already have some of that made up. Now, I don't know if there's a good way to automate this, as these are reusable, so we're going to get this back. So I'm wondering if there's a way that I can maybe request, if I ever request or need anything from these outputs, if it can just go ahead and make all of this and send it through. If anyone has any ideas on the best way to automate these microminer missions, that would be very helpful to leave down in the comments, because this is something that's a little bit new to me. I've run them in small batches in other games or in other packs, but nothing quite like this. So I'd be interested in seeing what that would look like. So let's go ahead and get all of these done. So we need the microminer itself, send that through. And we're also going to need the basic drilling kit. Basic drilling kit. And then we're also going to need the steel drill head, which we had to actually make a forming press for. Oh, we don't have any coprocessors. That's a problem for another day. Let me make all this, and then we'll head back up to the microverse projector. Okay, and I think we have everything we need. We have the microminer, basic drilling kit, drill head, power thruster, universe creation data, and some quantum flux. I actually don't know if we need this just yet. Okay, so we actually need to make more in there to run its first one to actually create the universe. Okay, so I'm going to need more quantum flux, huh? Okay, now we have the right quantum flux. And I think what we need to do is just put these in here and let it run. Oh, it's not connected to power. That's probably important. And there we are, now that it has power. Oh, what a crazy sound. 25 seconds to create an entire microverse. Color me skeptical. Recipe done. And now it's really dark in there. You can see some tiny stars. Okay, so it has the rocket fuel already in here. I have this set up for a potential automation. I'm not sure. I think most of them take rocket fuel. If not, we can always change that later. Add another hatch or whatever. Okay, so integrity, 100%, microverse type normal. And I guess now at this point, if we put in the correct components for this, we should be able to run our recipe. So let's run all of these. And there we go, 50 seconds. We'll get 32 molybdenite, some moon sand, some dilithium, and some fluorite. And there we go. We have our first microverse mission being ran. I always thought this machine was really cool. I never really dove into it to to really any extent, to be honest, other than just setting this up for the quest line. But I would really like to have this set up in a more robust way that could be of use to us in the future, as I could see it getting some very good resources, especially if we scale this up and run multiple at a time. This could be pretty good resource generation. Okay, that recipe has completed, and if we look in our output bus, we can see that we got all of our things, including the microminer, which can be reused. And that's kind of the main part of the automation that's going to need some thinking about, because we do get it back, because I don't want to just make a new one of these every single time I want a recipe. I would like it to reuse it if it's able to. Well, there we go. I'm also going to create this gemstone sensor as part of the quest, as that, I think, is the last thing that we will need to actually get all of this down here completed. And we can consider our first foray into the microverse completed. Gemstone sensor collected. And then this quest completed. Now, I don't think this will be the last time that we go into this quest book or this quest line, as we will probably need to make these elite crafting tables at some point. I don't really know of a use case for them yet. Maybe for some of the more complex microminers, I think is what they're hinting at there. But for now, no need to do so. And we can go back and check in the scaling up tab. We completed all of these dusts. We got ourselves some IV circuits, and we're set up pretty well to continue to make some more EV machines and start working towards tungsten, RTM alloy, signalum, lumium, and even tungsten steel potentially. And then we can really get going and make some multi-blocks of a higher tier. But I do think there are some things that we're going to need to do before that, such as petrochem, which I think is what I'm going to try to do in the next episode, because that is all the time that I have for today. I appreciate you guys for coming and hanging out with me as we made our first foray into the microverse, as I said before. Really interesting. Went to the moon, and we made our own pocket universe. That's pretty cool. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you did please like the video. Go and hit subscribe if you're excited to see even more Monifactory. Well, without further ado, it's been Eagle. Peace.